Hi guys, it's Kelly Latevola here and I'm back with another video. Today we are going to be using some more Color Me papers from Photoplay Paper. These, I'm just showing you all the different ones that they have. I'm actually going to be using a bunch of winter and Christmas theme ones today because that's the season that we're in. If you have not seen these papers before, they are 110 pound, they're printed on 110 pound cardstock that's ultra smooth. You can color on them with pretty much any medium that you have. I'm using alcohol markers because that's just my preferred coloring medium, but you can use pencils or you can use distress oxides, distress inks on there. But I wanted to use these, there's these little snow globe images on the Color Me Snowmen one. And I thought that it would be really fun to, since we are heading into the Christmas season, we are right at the beginning, there's going to be so many snow globes, you guys know this. And so I thought it would be fun to talk about coloring a snow globe with your alcohol markers. So I'm starting with my lightest blue, basically because I'm scared. That's pretty much what it comes down to. That's the honest answer. I like starting with my lightest color, so that way if things go awry, it's not hard to cover up. I know it's hard for you to see, but you'll be able to see as the colors get darker here. Pretty much I'm giving myself a little glow around the outside. I'm leaving a white edge. And then I'm drawing kind of like a window shape, like a larger rectangle on the right-hand side, and then a small, almost like a comma, a elongated comma shape in the top left-hand corner. I'm also using the flicking method and the side of my marker to kind of flick color out into the background of this penguin. And I'm going to increasingly get a little bit darker around the edges, not so much the rest of it, because I still want it to be a light blue. Glass isn't, you know what I mean? It's not going to be like opaque in color. We want it to appear clear. We want it to appear see-through. So I do want some color in the background and I want that look of reflection, but I don't want to add a ton of color to it. I am flicking, like I said, from that edge that I created, but I'm also kind of going over it a little bit to soften it out. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I'm happy with the way that it looks. So it's still mostly white-ish on the inside, but there's a little bit of that blue, which is going to give it that transparency feel. So for my penguin, obviously they're printed in black and white, so there isn't really a whole lot of color to add here. I am going to add a little bit of shading to his belly with my cool grays. That's just my preference. If you have warm grays or toners or neutrals, those will also work. I just like the cool grays. That's just me. So just flicking that up on his belly. His feet, I'm not really going to do any shading on. I'm just pretty much going to color them orange. There isn't a whole lot of real estate there, and so I don't think the shading would make a whole lot of sense. For the quote-unquote snow that's in my snow globe, I decided to go with a blue-violet shade. If you guys have watched any of my videos from winters past, you know that typically I shade my snow with either a blue or a blue-violet. That's just my preferred. So I'm doing the bottom of the snow that's on his hands and his head, as well as the base of the snow globe, because the snow globe is sitting upright. All of that snow would start to gather on the bottom. So a lot of shading underneath where he's standing and a little bit kind of around the edges. I also put a little bit of shading underneath that foot that is lifted, so it would look like there was a shadow being cast. So these are all pretty light blue violets, but that's okay. I'm also going to add a little bit from the top down. I'm still leaving that white edge around my snow globe, but I wanted it to appear as if some of that purple was in there. And then in order to blend that in, I just went over it with my lightest blue, which was B0000. That's how light we are today. For the base of the snow globe, I thought that it would be fun to have it be both silver and gold, just to kind of bring in a little bit more color. Typically with snow globes, the base is usually metallic. So for silver, I'm going to use the cool grays that you saw me use for his belly. I'm just going to go out a little bit darker, and I'm definitely going to leave some white in the center. So using the tip of my marker and very light pressure, I'm just going to flick color toward the center of it. So that way it leaves that white. The white is important if you're coloring something metallic, because it's going to make it appear as shiny as it can be versus just a gray that has a white highlight. You know what I'm saying? So just going back over those, lightest to darkest, darkest to lightest, that's how I roll. And then I'm going to switch over to the gold on the bottom. For me, this is the color combination that I have found that I like best for gold, and it is more of a, it's not like an old gold, it's like a bright gold, like a yellow gold, which I always have kind of liked. Most of my jewelry is yellow. I mean, I do have some silver, but most of my preferred jewelry is yellow gold. But anyway, doing the same thing from the right and the left-hand side, leaving that white portion in the center, just very light pressure, and the flicking, that's what's going to give it that, I guess, metallic feel. You want to make sure you don't over blend. If you do, it's not going to feel as like it's reflecting as much light. So just going back over those. And in this one, I didn't leave a ton of white, just enough to give it that like shine, because it is gold and it isn't silver. So, once I was done with that, I wanted to add some snow inside my snow globe, with just the white dots. I'm also going to putting them all over the background, but I'm also going to put them right over top of my penguin. This is going to make it look like the snow is actually falling in front of him. Because as you know, if you have an object inside a snow globe, the snow falls all around them. And so in order to make him more a part of the scene, I'm just going to use, that white gel pen to do dots right over him. You can do this for anything, for really, honestly, any kind of snow globe, whether you have a stamp or you're using these papers, that will work for, like, that technique will work. I also wanted to, because they're printed in black, in order to make it feel like that highlight is genuine, I need to use my white gel pen to kind of black out the black, so that they look 100% pure white. And again, that's going to give it a more realistic feel, because you wouldn't be able to, like if it was reflective on the outside, you wouldn't see the thing that's directly behind it. In order to really like bolster up the shine factor, because you guys know I love me some shimmer, I love me some shine, I'm going to use the silver and gold metallic gel pens from Sakura, and I'm just going to put that where like the scallop edges for the gold, and then along the top edge for the silver, because they are like when you see them in the light, they're genuinely shimmery and super pretty. I'm going to use the silver to go over these black dots as well, just to make it look like more, like more of a silver accent versus the black, because we have the black going on inside the snow globe. Because I love all things shimmery and glittery, as if you didn't know me, you have just learned. I'm going to do the same kind of snow effect with my Stardust stickles. So I'm just dotting it all over everything. So that's going to add, just some glitter to it and some shine. I am going to fussy cut this out. You can use them however you want to use them. This particular one comes in 12 by 12 cards, and you'll see at the end of the video, because I made more than one card, where some of them I kept them intact in their squares, but other ones like this I wanted to cut out and just use it as its shape. So because I'm right hand dominant, I'm going to cut with my right hand and hold and turn the paper with my left hand. That's going to give me a much smoother cut than trying to move my scissors. It's smoother if you just move the paper with your less dominant hand. Once that is done, I'm going to get out my This is a lie. I'm talking about glue. I need to be talking about markers, people. My Memento Tuxedo black marker. And I'm just going to finish off the edges of this because it helps when you fussy cut things. I also cut out one of these little labels, these Winter Wishes labels from another one of the papers. I think it was the winter one. I have them all linked. But here I'm actually gonna alter the color of the label with the same colors that I've used in my coloring, because I thought that would just be a fun little pop of color. So the only thing I will tell you with these is you want to make sure that you go over them a couple of times so that your layer is smooth, because the paper is so thick and Copics blend in the fiber of the paper. You have to put down multiple layers. That doesn't mean that this is going to be sucking up all of your ink. You just need to be conscientious that your markers are filled so that you don't get weird streaking. So here I've decided I'm going to just, because I'm doing just a clean and simple card, I'm going to pop this up on some Scotch foam tape in the center here, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the sentiment after I put in the shadow. I didn't want my snow globe just kind of floating in midair, so I'm just using those same cool markers I've already been using to give it just a little bit of ground to sit on. So like I said, he's not just, you know, floating around there. Another layer of the foam tape for the sentiment, and then we're done. We're pretty much good. That's the whole card as soon as I get this thing straight. And so I just wanted to briefly show you some of the other cards that I made with the same sets. So this is another snow globe one where I did it the same way. I love the little snowman. And this one I used the double side. So the other side of the paper has pattern paper. I used that in the background. The Christmas tree, I decided to do a whole little scene. This one's very similar to the snowman. And then the little joy one you saw in the back where, you know, I used the same technique that I did for the snow globes. So just another quick peek at the penguin. And then that's it. That's the whole video. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.